Hi and welcome to ed601. My name is Wade Warren and I'll be your teacher for ed601 this summer of 2017. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and then we'll go through the essentials of the syllabus to help you get started on the course. I did a bachelor's degree in biology here at Louisiana College, and then I went on to Texas A&M where I completed my doctoral work in neuroscience. I left Texas A&M and took my family to Atlanta, Georgia, where I spent a year as a postdoctoral fellow at Georgia State University. And then I returned to Louisiana College in 1996 as an assistant professor in biology. So I have several published articles. Um, the content of these articles are in the area of circadian rhythms. Um, my focus was on the interaction of the pineal gland secretion of melatonin on the biological clock. And so we're not going to talk about that in this class, but that is my research background. I received the endowed Kavanaugh Chair in Biology in 2000, and I am married to the current Dr. Christy Trahan Warren. We have two girls, Casey, who is 22, and Chloe, who is, Chloe is 18. Fix that. So I have my research technique training is in pinealectomy and brain lesion, neuroanatomical tract tracing. I've worked with several different types of animals. The latest group, many of you people from Louisiana will be interested in a tract tracing study I did in alligators. I'd love to talk with you about that sometime. Again, not the content of this class. I also have a really cool lab in Kavanaugh that I invite you guys to come by if you have time to see it, where we can do electroencephalograms, myograms, electrocardiograms, heart stuff, respiratory, lie detection, galvanic skin response. Very cool lab. And I invite you to come by and see me sometime, and I'll show it to you. I also have taught gross anatomy, and I'm currently teaching an online gross anatomy course through another school online, and I've taught gross anatomy here at Louisiana College as well, using facilities at the medical school in New Orleans. I have 25 years of teaching experience, and I've taught courses here at Louisiana College in zoology, mostly anatomy and physiology, histo, neuropsych. I'm the coordinator also here at Louisiana College of the freshman orientation course, our CC100 course. And I also facilitate, as many of you will realize, whenever we get together on Thursday of this week, online course access. So I'll be your go-to person for questions that you have about that. In addition to the science training, I've also taken 36 hours of Hebrew language and exegetical courses, which will be much of the content that you will see in this course. And I love to fish and play golf, spend time with my family. So there's 3 minutes and 40 seconds about me. All right, let's talk about the course itself, content of the course. First of all, let me say teaching online has its own challenges, and one of the biggest challenges I believe in being an effective online teacher is staying in contact with the students. So I'd like to start this by saying I encourage you to get in touch with me. I will be diligent in answering your questions and interacting with you. So here are some good ways to contact me. The quickest way is to text my cell phone, and here's that number, 318-613-3271. You can also send me email that I will respond to. This is my office number. So please never hesitate, never think that you're going to be somehow bothering me. Please contact me with any questions or concerns that you have, and I will try to address those very quickly. Okay, so the course itself is designed to serve as a model for the practitioner teacher in critically reading texts, and I say specifically reading for the author's intended meaning. So let me tell you where this is going to go so that you can have some expectations about the course. You can see biology here in the content area, and you can see scripture here in the content area, and you heard that as my background. So the first several sessions of the course, after we talk about suggestions on how to read biblical text, talking about author's intentions and that sort of thing, after we do that, we're going to spend several sessions looking at very brief figures and excerpts from the most popular biology text available. It's used for dual enrollment in high school settings. It's also the most common text used for freshman biology. Now, I know that most of the people in this class are not biology teachers, and so this is not an effort in teaching biology content. Really, this is an effort in how to figure out what author's intended meanings are. And I'm going to tell you up front here, I'm very sensitive to this. As you will learn in the 10B session, I've spent the last year and have been involved in several things in years past, both in Louisiana and in Texas, in trying to give students, public school students, an opportunity to read things that do not agree with the current Darwinian model. So you need to know where I'm coming from, and that's where I'm coming from. I would just ask that you not prejudge things that you're going to hear, that you try to keep an open and objective mind as you read these things. My suggestion is going to be that the author's meaning in the biology text is to, in fact, promote the current and most popular, most highly recognized scientific model of our day, which is Darwinian evolution. Now, as I go through that, what I'm going to do is to suggest to you that that is in fact the author's intended meaning, and that the authors of the biology text are in fact, because they intend to promote that model, they are omitting information that's available in the scientific literature that does not support that model. And so, like I said, just keep your mind open. My presentation is going to be to show you the figures, to show you what's said about the figures, and then to show you also literature and other scientists who are suggesting that these things have, there's more than one point of view here. And so I'm going to call into question the author's intended meaning and suggest that at least at some level it is disingenuous. So, as I said, try to keep an open mind as we do that. The first several sessions are going to be covering that. Now, this is not intended, as I said, to teach you biology necessarily, but we've just been through the process in the state of rewriting the Louisiana Science Standards. I've been part of that over the past year, and I want you to hear that story and how that's gone. That, as I said, will come in the summary session, which is 10B. As you're going through this, please don't get too bogged down. I'm not going to be checking that you have correctly articulated transcription and translation from the DNA molecule. That's really not it. But you have to have a little content background, right, in order to understand what's going on in the text. So, like I said, a lot of you are going to be, I got this last year, you're going to be, oh my word, this is just too much science. And I've tried to limit that. The sessions are relatively short. They don't take you through horrific amounts of detail, but I'm hoping that this will give you enough information to create in your mind an openness to thinking about the possibility that the current Darwinian model may in fact have problems. And this can create, I think, more significance in the way you teach, even if it's not the Darwinian model, pros and cons that you're doing in your classroom. The exercise itself at becoming a skeptical reader will be a good one in helping you become a better teacher, in my opinion. All right, then the second part of the course, really, the last 2/3 of the course, will be using Scripture and investigating the author's intent in Scripture. Now, the approach here is going to be different because, as you will learn very quickly in the first sessions, when I give you suggestions on how to read biblical text, I'm going to, as I present the modeling for reading Scripture as a primary text, something very different. And so I'll let you take that as it comes. I look forward to reading what you think about how these things are put together for the course. And so we'll start this investigation in Genesis 1 and 2, and then we're going to work through the book of Kings and finish the course by doing a study on Isaiah 53. All right, so what do you mean you're going to cover all these content things? Wade, what does that mean? Well, when you go online, you're going to see, when you go online, you go to the Resources tab in the portal, and you will see every one of these sessions listed there for you. Just click on the session and watch it. Take some notes while you're watching the session, and then you're going to submit what you think about the content of that session as basically a written paper for each of those sessions. Now, I'm going to say that again just to be clear as to what your assignments are for the course. Okay, so here's the objectives, and you can read those. I'm not going to read them to you. Now, the students want to know where this content's coming from. I have just recently completed writing a book. It's not available yet. It is currently in the editing process, the title of which is Exploring Author's Intentions, Biology and the Bible. And so you recognize those things, so as what we've just been talking about. Now, it would be good if I had been able to get this book published and on the market so I could make all of you buy it. Wouldn't that be great? Haha. But some of you will want some additional reading, and a lot of this information, not all of it, comes from books that I have here in the syllabus. This one, published by Ian Thomas, who has been dead for several years now. I actually traveled with him as a young man, and he wrote 3 different books. If I Perish, I Perish, The Saving Life of Christ, and the Mystery of Godliness. There is some content in the early Genesis sessions out of these books. This is a book by John Sailhammer called Genesis Unbound that also works through the Hebrew exegesis in a way that normal people can understand. I'm hoping I've done a reasonable job with that in this course as well. Bill Dembski and his design inference will also show up very early in this course as you're going through the science, and I'm asking you to think about design inferences. Stephen Myers, Darwin's Doubt. He's written several books. There's content out of this one and others in this course. The current head of the NIH, Francis Collins, published a book called The Language of God at the completion of the Human Genome Project. Very interesting. And we're going to cover some of the content there about how the structure of DNA is actually evidence that a designer has been involved at the molecular level in the human genome. Michael Behe's popular and famous Darwin's Black Box book also has content in this course. Another book by John Sailhammer. There's a couple of quotes. So this one, the compositional stuff of the Pentateuch that we cover, is found in this book. Mike Shepard, who is a former faculty member here at Louisiana College, who is currently Hebrew professor at Cedarville University up in Ohio. Written several books. There is content in this course from both of these, The Textual World of the Bible and Daniel in the Context Hebrew Bible. This is the first one he wrote here. So these are all content things. You're not required to buy these books, but students last year were asking about where they could do some more reading. And so these are some resources for you. Here's the grading scale. Let me say that this course is not designed as a typical college course where you submit things and then I go about trying to find ways to deduct points from what you have submitted. That is not the way this is set up. This course is, in my opinion, should be something that you enjoy doing. The real meat of this course is the opportunity to write down what you think. And I I had many students last year as I taught this course for the first time who had very different opinions than I did, and that is a way to help me grow in my thinking. And so once again, I will look forward to hearing what it is that you think. So please don't be afraid to have that there will be some kind of reduction in points if you don't say what I say. In fact, it's just the opposite. I would very much like to hear what you think about what I have taught you. That's certainly a big part of it. But also a big part of this is giving you the opportunity to articulate what you think. So that's what this course is really all about. The open and honest exchange of ideas. And I think that's the way a graduate course should really go. Okay, so here's the way the course is set up. Set up as a series of video sessions. The introduction session will count for 5 points. That is, I want you to watch this intro. You're doing that right now. And so type a few notes about the course, is how you understand it's going to go, and then turn those in through Turnitin. So this is just going to be, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a moment. So you turn all of your course materials in through Turnitin.com. And so when I see that you've submitted something here, I will give you those 5 points for having watched the introduction. Each of the other sessions will count for 15 each. There are 25 of them, 25 sessions, and the first 10 have multiple sessions to watch each. So there's quite a bit to go through, but the sessions don't all last an hour. Most of them are shorter than 30 minutes. So for each session, as you're watching it, you should write down some things as you're watching the session, because here's what I'm looking for in your response. In the paper that you write about each session, I need for you to demonstrate the content knowledge of the entire session. Give me evidence in your writing that you watched the whole thing. Alright? So that's the first one, the first thing that I'll be looking for. And the second thing that I will be looking for is thoughtful reflection on your part. Now, several of the sessions have questions in them, and I continue to try to cause you to interact with the content. Answer the questions, tell me what you think, and I'm not going to go through and check that you've done each and every one of those. Those are intended to get you started in your thinking. So students want to know, well, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Okay, so here's the way I would like for this to show up. So here's session 1 response from somebody who took the course last summer, and you can see that this student I like the way this is set up. This is the first one on how to read biblical text, and please write your thoughts here. And the student has now this is not the entire reflection that the student wrote, but it's part of it because I wanted you to be able to see the kind of thing I'm looking for. So notice content things here. This is what this student believes about this. This is other content things here to demonstrate that the student has watched the session and made thoughtful reflection about it. Those are the two things. Demonstrate content knowledge and demonstrate thoughtful reflection concerning that content knowledge. Alright, so we'll do that for each of the sessions, and they're worth 15 points each. So with each of the video sessions, write There will be written questions, or I'll simply ask you to make reflections, give your opinion. And so the purpose of this, as I said already, is to express yourself. I will not deduct points for opinions that differ from mine. A paper then, at the end, this is the last part of the course, the last thing you'll do for me is to write a paper that has 3 parts. And here are the 3 parts of the paper. First part is I'm interested in how your worldview has been shaped. This is a very emotional time for me last summer because the students were so open and honest with me about where they had come from and how they viewed their world. So at the end of the course, I'm going to ask you to put that down on paper. The second thing is, in the paper, I'd like to know what has been beneficial about this course. So a few sessions, this session, that session, something you learned, something you picked up and you said, you know what, this was worthwhile. And then the last thing, this is for me, and that is every course can get better. And so I'd like for you to make some suggestions at the end of your paper about what should be done with this course to make it a better experience for the students. Alright, all the coursework, here's the Turnitin part. All the coursework has to be submitted through Turnitin.com. So if you go there, if you don't have an account already, it'll walk you through setting one up. And then here's the class ID name and enrollment key. And then you'll be enrolled in the course and you can turn all your work in. Just type it up in Word and submit it through Turnitin.com. If you have any trouble with that, just contact me and I'll help you go through it. Students also, so that I can stay in touch with the whole class, need to register through remind.com so that I can send class texts. I will not allow interaction back and forth in the class with this, so please don't worry about some mass text blowing up your phone. This is just a way for me to tell everybody announcements and reminders and that sort of thing. So please go to remind.com and type at ed601su to 81010, and then you'll be enrolled in remind.com, and I'll have a way to contact the whole class very quickly. Alright, so that's 22 minutes worth to get you started on ed601, and I will look forward to reading your submissions. Please don't hesitate to contact me if you have questions.